Hey everyone, welcome back to Shree. I'm so sorry, I know that I have not been consistent, but I promise you that from now on I'll be more consistent and bring to you the best and interesting contents. So recently, I've been invited to many colleges and universities to deliver a session, and the most common question that I faced is they know what is AWS, but they do not know what to do, how to get started, what they should focus first, what is more important, how they can cover the services. Because I understand that it is a bit overwhelming as AWS has 200 plus services, and yeah, sometimes you feel a little bit lost, right? Don't worry, I have created a very simple AWS roadmap for you guys. It will cover AWS core services and features from compute to network to storage to database to security to ML, everything. You just have to follow this roadmap and you will get the basics of AWS. So let's get started. So, are you ready for the roadmap? Okay, let's get started. So this is a roadmap specifically designed for beginners. You can see that it is a plan for beginners which will cover core AWS services and its features, right? And let's go through each and every steps of this roadmap. First one is AWS Fundamental. Here you will cover Introduction to AWS. It is a comprehensive and widely adopted cloud computing platform. We all know that, right? It offers 200 plus services. It provides on-demand access to scalable computing, power, storage, database, ML, and many more things, right? To scale and deploy your application with flexibility and cost effectiveness. So this is Introduction to AWS. Here you will see what is overview of cloud computing. So there are three models of AWS: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Go look into it into detail, and along with recognizing fundamental features like scalability, high availability, deployment options, including public, private, and hybrid cloud models. What is AWS Global Infrastructure? So AWS Global Infrastructure consists of regions which are geographical areas with multiple availability zones, ensuring fault tolerance and high availability. Each AZ, which is availability zone, is composed of one or more data centers equipped with independent power, cooling, and networking to mitigate the impact of potential failures. So there are various regions of AWS. Each regions are physically far away from each other into different geographical locations, and also each region consists of three or more availability zones, right? Let's come to AWS Identity and Access Management. This would be the first service I would prefer to go and do hands-on or go and understand. So let's see what is IAM basics. So IAM is a foundational service in AWS which enables you to securely manage and access AWS resources. It allows you to create and control users, groups, and roles, and define permissions to grant or deny access to specific resources or actions within your environment. So go through what is IAM. Into IAM you will see different users, groups, and policies. So IAM user is an entity that you create in AWS. It represents the human user or workload who uses the IAM user to interact with AWS, right? A user in AWS consists of a name and a credential. What is IAM group? Bunch of IAM users forms a IAM group. You can use groups to specify permissions for multiple users at one time. What is IAM policies? So IAM policies define permissions for an action regardless of the method that you use to perform the operations. If you want to dive deep into what is IAM user group and policies, here are few links that you can visit. Okay, let's see what is IAM roles. So IAM roles are entities you create and assign specific permissions to that allow trusted identities such as workforce identities and applications to perform actions in AWS. It is preferable to use IAM roles for temporary permissions. Go look deep into IAM roles. Now the best part, IAM best practices. So these are few IAM best practices that I keep in my mind while performing routine AWS or cloud computing work. First is use least privilege. Always provide the least permissions that is required. Do not give the root user credentials. Next, use IAM roles for applications. Third one, enable MFA, which you usually do in your Gmail accounts or in any of your banking accounts, right? Fourth, regularly rotate credentials. It is very important to regularly rotate your credentials. Fifth, monitor and review IAM policies. Sixth, enable CloudTrail logging. Seventh, implement IAM conditions. Eighth, use IAM policies for EC2 access. The next one is regularly review IAM users and groups. And last one is enable IAM access advisor. So always follow these few IAM best practices. Next one is compute service. So let's see what is Amazon EC2. It is a web service that provides secure, reliable compute capacity in the cloud. Here is the article where you can dive deep into EC2. Basically, EC2 instance is nothing but a virtual server, right? In our common terminology, EC2 instance is a simply virtual server in AWS. Types of EC2 instance. So instance types comprise varying combination of CPU, memory, storage, networking capacity, and also it gives you the flexibility to choose the approximate mix of resources for your application. There are many different types of instance such as T2 micro, large, X large. Go here, you will also get compute specific, memory specific. So go over here to deep dive into EC2 instance type. Let's see what is ECS. Have you heard about containerization? Of course, yes, right? So Amazon ECS is Amazon Elastic Container Service, which is a fully managed container orchestration service that will help you easily deploy, manage, and scale your containerized application. Look it into details in this link. Next is Docker. So you know that container takes a different approach to producing isolation like VMs. Containers live on top of a host machine and use its resources, right? However, instead of virtualizing the underlying hardware, they virtualize the host OS. This is container. What is Docker? Docker is a containerization platform. It is a toolkit that allows you to build, deploy, and manage containerized applications. ECS, task and clusters. So task is a definition of blueprint of your application. It is a text file in JSON format basically that describes the parameters and one or more containers that form your application. Cluster is a logical grouping of tasks or services. What is AWS Lambda? Lambda is a compute service that runs your code in response to events and automatically manages the compute resources, making it the fastest way to turn an idea into a modern production serverless application. So basically it's nothing but it is a serverless compute service. Here you don't have to take care of any underlying infrastructure or configuration. You just have to write your code and your application will be running. So this is, I have already explained you in AWS Lambda, serverless computing. So serverless computing is an application development and execution model that enables developers to build and run application code without provisioning or managing servers or backend infrastructure. Now let's move ahead to storage services. So this is one of my favorite one, Amazon S3. It is a service offered by Amazon that provides object storage through a web service interface. So S3 bucket, they are containers for storing object files such as your image or your video or your static files. Anything can be stored in a bucket. Objects in S3 consist of data, metadata, and a unique key, allowing for versatile storage and retrieval capacities over the web. Let's see what is EBS. So EBS provides persistent block storage volumes for Amazon EC2 instances, offering features like snapshots and encryption for data protection and flexibility in storage management. If you want to learn more about EBS, go and visit the official website. Here is S3 data transfer options. There are different type of data transfer option. I have listed down few: internet transfer, AWS Direct Connect, Snowball Edge, transfer family, S3 transfer acceleration. So these are few transfer options that you should know in detail. Okay, what is EBS snapshot? So snapshots are point in time backups of Amazon Elastic Block storage volumes in AWS. So they capture the data and configuration of EBS volumes at a specific moment, allowing you to restore volumes to that exact state if needed. So snapshot is basically like a screenshot of a window that you have taken, and it will store all the information that is required. So go and look in detail about what is EBS snapshot. Here, what is RDS? Of course, it is a database service, but it is a fully managed database service provided by AWS that simplifies the setup, operation and scaling of your database in cloud. There are different popular database engine support by RDS, which is MySQL, PostgreSQL, MariaDB, Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, Amazon Aurora, etc. Right. What is RDS database engine? So it supports, I have already mentioned that it supports popular database engines such as MySQL, PostgreSQL and all the other databases. What is multi-AZ deployment? Now this is something very interesting. Multi-AZ deployment is a configuration option provided by AWS for high availability and fault tolerance in Amazon RDS and other services. So you can use multi-AZ deployment. Suppose in one AZ you have your RDS instance. What about due to some unforeseen condition, those instances were not reachable? You can have a replication of those instances in another AZ also. Let's move to networking services. So one of the famous networking service in Amazon is VPC, right? So VPC is a customizable and isolated network environment in the cloud, offering control over networking settings for secure development of AWS resource. So here is an article for AWS VPC in which all the other components that I have listed over here will be mentioned. So go visit that link if you want to go dive into VPC. Let me just mention few of the VPC components that you need to learn in details. There are subnets, route tables, internet gateways, net gateway, security groups, NSELs, which is called a network access control list, and VPN connections. Let's see what is subnetting and what is routing in VPC. So subnetting involves dividing a larger network into smaller or more manageable subnetworks known as subnets. It helps to optimize network performance, security and resource allocation within a VPC by segmenting IP address ranges. What is routing? So routing on other hand, it determines the path that network traffic takes from one subnet to another within the VPC. Route tables defines this path, directing traffic based on destination IP addresses. So it ensures efficient communication between resources while maintaining security and compliance within the environment. What is Amazon Route 53? So Route 53 is basically a DNS service for registering domain names and routing internet traffic to AWS resources or any other endpoints, ensuring reliability and performance optimization. What is domain registration and DNS? Domain registration entails acquiring unique web address through domain registrars, enabling ownership of website identities. And DNS on the other hand, it serves as a decentralized system translating these domains into IP addresses. Okay, Route 53 routing policies. There are many routing policies which are based on factors such as geographic location, latency, health checks, weighted distribution, offering flexibility and optimization options for managing traffic efficiently. So look in detail about Route 53 during your networking services. Next is security services. So what is AWS security groups? It is a very fundamental component of AWS. So basically it acts as a virtual firewall for your EC2 instance to control inbound and outbound traffic. What is WAF? Web Application Firewall. So it is a managed service that helps you to protect web applications from common web threats or exploits by filtering and monitoring the HTTP or HTTPS request. What is AWS Inspector? So it is an automated security assessment service for your AWS resources. It will help you to identify the security vulnerabilities and compliance issue in your EC2 instances and applications, providing insights for improving security. What is KMS? So AWS KMS is a managed service again that enables you to create and control encryption keys, which is used to encrypt your data. Our next domain would be monitoring and logging. So the first and foremost service in monitoring is, of course, Amazon CloudWatch. So CloudWatch allows users to collect and track metrics, to collect and monitor log files or set alarms or automatically react to changes in your AWS resources. Now let's learn about what is metrics and what is alarms. Metrics in Amazon CloudWatch are data points representing the behavior of your AWS resources, while alarms are thresholds set on metrics to trigger notification or automated actions when breached. What are CloudWatch logs? So CloudWatch logs, it is again service provided by AWS for monitoring, storing and accessing logs from AWS resources and application. It will allow you to centralize logs from various sources such as EC2, Lambda, containers. I would say most of the AWS service can get integrated with CloudWatch and you can collect all your logs. Next one is CloudTrail. So this is a service that provides comprehensive logging of AWS API calls made by users or any other service or any other AWS resources. So it captures details such as the identity of the entity making call, or the time of the call, or the request parameters, or the response elements. What is logging and auditing? So CloudTrail enables logging and auditing of AWS API calls, storing details like who made the call, when it happened, or the action performed. Right. Our next tool is deployment and management tool. So for someone who is DevOps enthusiast, this would be the best tools to or services to explore. First is AWS CloudFormation. What is CloudFormation? It is basically a ISC service provided by Amazon. With CloudFormation, you can define your infrastructure into a code using a template in YAML or JSON format. What is Beanstalk? So Beanstalk is like a hot platter. It is a platform as a service offering that will simplify the deployment and management of your web application on AWS. So it will allow you to upload your application code, and Elastic Beanstalk, it will automatically handle the deployment or capacity provisioning or load balancing or scaling and monitoring of your applications. Okay, what is SDK? So SDKs are a collection of libraries and tools provided by AWS to help developers interact with AWS services programmatically. Many programming languages supports this, such as Python, Java, JavaScript, .NET, Ruby, Go, and much more. What is CLI? So again, if you want to use any third-party tools such as Terraform, you should have AWS CLI. So it is a unified tool provided by AWS for interacting with AWS services from the commanding line. I have also a few suggestions for advanced topic which are not covered in the above domains, such as auto scaling. So this is to make sure that you adjust your resource capacity and to maintain performance and cost effectiveness. There are two types of auto scaling: horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. Go and search on Google what it means and learn more about it, or you can just comment me down and I will let you know what is horizontal and vertical scaling. Next one is elastic load balancing. It will distribute incoming traffic into multiple targets such as EC2 instances or containers, ensuring high availability and fault tolerance of applications. Another one would be Lambda layers. So it is a feature that will allow you to centrally manage code, libraries and dependencies that are common across multiple Lambda functions. So with Lambda, you can package and share libraries or runtime components independently of your function code. It will reduce the duplication and it will simplify your maintenance. Okay, next one is what is ECR. So It provides a managed Docker container registry for storing, managing, and deploying container images securely. Last but not least, serverless and microservices. Microservice architecture on AWS involves breaking down of monolithic application into smaller and independent services that are deployed and managed separately. There are many services in AWS for this, such as ECS, EKS, Lambda, API Gateway, Fargate, and much more. So go explore those services. Next one is building serverless applications. So building serverless application involves deploying and developing application without managing the underlying infrastructure. So serverless architectures leverage various managed services that I've already told you, such as Lambda, API Gateway, DynamoDB, right? So I would like you, building serverless application is very important, because just knowing the service would not give you much details or would not add to your skills. So you have to go and build few applications. Next one would be Amazon API Gateway. This is again a fully managed service provided by AWS that enables developers to create, publish, maintain, monitor, and secure APIs at any scale. So I can say that it acts as a front door for applications, to access your data or business logic or functionality from backend services. And last, AWS Step Functions. So again, it is a fully managed service provided by AWS that enables developers to coordinate and orchestrate serverless workflows using visual workflows. So with this, we are at the end of our roadmap. This roadmap was just to tell you what you need to do. This is not at all for information how to do and the details of services. No, I have just mentioned down the services that you should go again and explore. I will still try to add more links into these descriptions. So in case you want this roadmap to be shared with you, go comment down in the section and I will share this roadmap soon with you. Follow your this roadmap and just launch your AWS career, your AWS journey. All the very best. And yeah, do let me know if you have any other doubts or questions or queries. More than happy to help you. Thank you.